show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
My name's Rebecca. I am trying to sequentially, as much as I can, tell the story of my experience at Horizon Academy, what got me there, which is in another video. I'll put the link in the description below so that if you want to watch that one first, you can. But what my experience was, my last video was all about, from birth, kind of what exactly happened to get me into that place in the first place. So I think I ended on the note of arriving, and I realized that I didn't really mention much about Horizon Academy in my last video, which I think was kind of on purpose. I didn't really want to give away the punchline, I guess, so to speak. When I arrived at Horizon Academy, I had never heard of anything like that. It's a school, I guess you could call it a school. And there was basically 4 big, tall, white walls. They were about 8 to 8.5 feet high, it felt like, at that time. They were kind of that like weird plastic material, that you see in a cheap fence, but it wasn't like you couldn't push it over or anything like that. It was all cemented into the ground, and literally on every side around me was just desert and desert mountains. And getting out of that camper was the most confusing, terrifying experience I've probably ever had. I think I mentioned a little bit about Jade Robinson. And this man was tall. I mean, I know I was shorter then, but he had to be at least like 6'3", 6'4", and he was like kind of burly. And when he came in and his booming voice just told me to get out of the camper, I was so confused and dazed and just like, what is going on? So, to my surprise, I'm left there. My parents actually leave, and my pleas, to not be abandoned in the middle of the desert were left completely, unanswered. And so there I was. I got dressed into my new uniform. My hair was too short to put up, which was their requirement, was that your hair was put up. So it kind of made for an awkward situation, but my hair was very, very short at the time. And there I am in clogs and socks and a khaki, awful pant uniform. They just find stuff that kind of fits you. And God, I remember feeling like everything was so thick. It was like the middle of the summer, and I had just gotten out of the hospital for dehydration, and all the clothing was so thick. It was just like the khaki skirt was, like heavy, and it went to your ankles, and the shorts were heavy and they went past your knee. And I mean, nothing flattering about this, obviously, but you had to wear multiple layers, and it's hot. It's hot out there. It's 120 easy. It's right next to Death Valley. I mean, if you can imagine, literally it's about a 25-minute drive into the bottom of Death Valley from there. And so you have to wear a sports bra, and then you have to wear a full-born like men's white t-shirt under a thick button-up shirt, and then a tie. And it was just cumbersome and ugly. And I I'm being told, I'm seeing all these things, you know, like, why is everyone walking in single line formation? Why is nobody talking? What is going on here? You know, like, what is this place? And, you know, I was told it was a boarding school. You know, I was thinking boarding school, you, like, hang out with your friends in a dormitory and, you know, chop it up. I thought that was always for, like, way rich kids that, like, were overprivileged. And, I don't know. But this was not that. This was not that at all. And, like I said, I was offered food and I refused it. And they put me in this, like, series of... There's like a series of little mini hallways. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. If you can imagine, like, a bathroom without stalls or toilets, like, or without toilets or doors. It's like these little breakout hallway rooms in a main hallway, all white. And you sit in one of the little sections. You're not allowed to talk. You're not allowed to move, really. And there's someone just sitting there watching you, not do anything. And you're not allowed to speak without permission. And I found that out fairly quickly. You know, they're trying to get me to eat food and telling me I can't leave the room until I do. And I'm just like, what is this place? Like, why do I have to eat? Like, I'm terrified right now. I don't have an appetite, you know? Do you know what just happened to me? Like, thinking I'm something special. Like, not every other kid in there had gone through this already, but when my new buddy came in, you know, she told me, well, you're missing out. This is the best meal we get. Chicken and dumplings. So you're going to regret not eating it. And I didn't eat it. I didn't eat it that night. They gave me something else. I don't remember what it was, but I did eat something to appease them. And I got taken back to what they called, like, the dorms. And God, I mean, they were all connected. You know, there was a top floor and a bottom floor, but if you were to stand in the front of the room and look straight down the hallway, you could see all the way to the other end of the building. And there was just, like, a little station set up at the front of each room. That station was for the dorm parent, or the night staff is what they called the people who came at night. There was one per room, and they would sit in the front of the room. And there was only one window in each room. It was alarmed, and it went outside the facility. But the second you touched it, the alarm would go off. And there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 girls to a room, 4 sets of bunk beds. So the rooms were just, like, basically a very small, like, L shape. And there was, like, 2 bunk beds on the inner portion and 2 on the outer, and then a bathroom. And I just cried. Yeah, I cried myself to sleep. I was so confused. I did not know what the hell was going on. I hadn't really gotten a chance to talk to anyone in there, and I was, you know, just, I don't know, feeling very, like, alone, very scared and angry, you know, pissed off that my parents would just leave me at a place like this where I don't know what's going on. You know, I don't know the rules. I don't get it. I don't get what's happening yet. And you know, when I woke up and went to breakfast, and then, you know, you're finally allowed to kind of communicate between each other, I realized that I was in what they called a family, and my family's name was Integrity. And there was a few girls families, and then I found out that there was actually boys families there as well. And they started giving me the rundown of, like, you're in a program. Well, what's a program? What kind of program? And it's a basically behavior modification program for troubled children, troubled teens, and that your parents were paying a lot of money for you to be there, and you had to obey the rules and go through the levels, or I guess, what do you call it? Yeah, levels, like status levels, basically, in order to graduate. You weren't going to leave if you didn't graduate. If you disobeyed, you would go to intervention. Eventually, you would go maybe to a wilderness program, they would recommend you to be sent to something in the wilderness where you just hike for like weeks on end, or you'd go to Tranquility Bay, which was the big threat. That was Jamaica, and so that was tossed around quite a bit. And when girls would get pulled out, for disrupting the way things were there, and that's what their recommendation would be. So a lot of people went to wilderness camp and then came back, and then they would have to do that program all over again. There's a whole documentary on that. There's people who have died there. It's really quite a nice facility. But yeah, so every rule you would break was matched up with what they called a cat, or a category. It's all labeled. It was kind of like getting a ticket. And if you got a small ticket, you would write a small essay, and each essay had 5 words per line, and you would have to number each line 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, to make it easier to see how many words you had written. Your category was about what you had done wrong and what you were going to do in the future. Make sure that didn't happen again, basically. So some of the categories would be like speaking without permission, looking in the direction of one of the males. That was a huge category. Insubordination, trying to run, not like you have anywhere really all that great to go. Run plans, that was a big one. Not eating, not trying to, basically anything you can think of that they would not approve of, that was a category. And so, a cat 1 was maybe 50 words, a cat 3 was maybe 350, I don't remember exactly, but I can tell you I had to write a cat 5 one time, and I'll get to that, but it was bullshit. And when I wrote it, I remember just being like, wow, I'm literally saying the same thing over and over again, because I didn't do anything wrong, really, and this is fucking craziness. It was just, looking back on it, it feels like you're in a movie. I don't feel like it actually happened to me, but I still have dreams about that place. And some sick part of my brain, I've had dreams where I wanted to go back, because life out here is so unpredictable, and life in there was so monotonous. You wake up at the same time every day. You're only allowed a 7-minute shower in and out of the bathroom, and you can't get changed in front of anyone else. So you go in, undress, shower, redress, and hopefully take a tinkle if you have time in 7 minutes with a timer, or you have a category. All the dorm parents smoked, and being a smoker at the time, oh my god, because if you were on anything or did anything, you quit cold turkey. Maybe a dorm parent would sneak some people cigarettes. I never had that happen, but I had 2 really cool dorm parents that I'm still friends with on Facebook. They got me through a lot of that. And so did my whole entire family. Integrity family was a saving grace. I don't think I would have fit all that well in the other ones. Sorry, I heard gunfire. But the other ones were faith and harmony when I was there. And at the end, I think they were changing them up. There was freedom. Freedom was a boy's one, I think. Freedom, pride. God, I don't remember. That's bad. Anyways, I'm going to show a clip, like an aerial of the school for you, so you can kind of get an idea, and an aerial of like around there. I might even sneak in a picture if I have one, which I think I do, of us doing something. But the worst part about all of this was the lack of communication you have with your family and what your family's being told. And I can tell you it took, God, it was weeks, maybe even months, until I talked to my parents for the first time. We were able to write them a letter 1 day a week. That was Sundays. I think we got an hour of letter writing time, and it was all typed. So we type it, they would print it and Sharpie out anything they didn't want us to say, send it off, and then they would receive our mail and Sharpie out anything they didn't want us to see, or just, cut out, or if they, couldn't do it correctly, they would, retype it or whatever. Most of the time it was just Sharpied out, blacked out. So good luck trying to tell your parents that you're in a psychologically abusive, crazy program that is not doing you any favors. They're told, your kids are trying to manipulate you. It's what they've always done. It's what they're going to continue to do. They don't want to be here. They're going to tell you all sorts of crazy stuff. Don't listen to them. We're all just trying to get by. You know what I mean? Like a function. Out here trying to function. I am not an idiot. I think I'm pretty freaking smart. I did my very best to just keep my head down and get through it and try and follow the rules and earn the levels and just get home. We had to share every day. And I mean share in front of your family and dorm parent about something that's fucking with you. About something that's from your past, and they would prod, and there would be constructive criticism about your feelings every time you shared. You would pick 3 people, and they would be like, my experience with what you said is blah 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 blah. I think you're I don't even know some of the program words. So crazy. I think your feelings are a mirror of what you do to other people. I don't know. All I'm saying is it's really hard to have feelings when they're constantly criticized. And then there's the seminars. There was 3 that I went to, I think. But the first 2 were pretty gnarly. So you had regular seminars that you went to, and your parents went to similar ones separately. And the first one that I went to is where I kind of freaked out about what had happened to me in my past. They, when you walked into the room on the 2nd or 3rd day, because there was 3 days in a row, and they were intensive. They were start at the beginning of the morning, end at night, and then basically you had homework, intensive emotional homework, and then you came the next day. Well, I think it was the last day. They had these towels, tight, rolled, and they had wrapped them with in 3 different areas to make them almost like a baseball bat, with duct tape. And they had you go sit on the ground next to one of these towels, and they turned off the lights, and they kind of started prompting you to like think back at the most awful things that have happened to you, the worst people, the things they've done to you, and get all the anger built up, blah, 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 you know, giving you like a 10-minute build-up period to this awful feeling. And then to take that towel and slam it repeatedly on the ground like a baseball bat and pretend like it's like that's all that anger, and you're just beating it up. Everything bad that's ever happened to you, you're just effing it up. And all I saw was this person's face that had hurt me, and everybody in the room's crying. People came out bloody knuckled. People came out, you know, we came out exhausted, because you weren't just able to like beat, okay, I'm done. No, like they were like screaming at you to keep going, saying awful things to you while you're doing it, like fucked up shit, like things like, think about that guy that did that to you, and like how your dad never loved you, and how your dad peed on you, and just like all this stuff to like get us to get angry. But wow, like really, we're already effed up enough. Like obviously we're here, right? I just remember being exhausted, couldn't cry anymore, just swollen face, like awful, and so emotionally drained by the end of these. And I'm not saying they were all bad. I mean, I got some good stuff out of them too, but some of the methods that they used to, I don't know, curb us into thinking that, you know, what you fear is what you create, and you know, just there was another time, I think it was a different seminar, but maybe it was the same one, where they had us imagine all of our struggles and all of our pain, I think it was. Imagine it like we're building it up into this ball, and I'm thinking like a ball, like a giant, like the thing that comes at you on the Indiana Jones ride, you know, that big stone ball rolling towards you, and then you're trying to push it off a cliff or push it up a hill or something like that, and they had us standing on the wall, pushing on the wall like as hard as you can, screaming at us again with the doors closed or the lights off. And I remember when the lights got turned back on, there were a couple of people that had pushed through the wall. I mean, these were not like thin walls, through the sheetrock, and everybody was just tore up and crying. I remember the first time I saw my parents. It was at PC1, which is Parent-Child Seminar 1. And they come to Horizon Academy to see you. And if, in fact, you were level 3 at that time... Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, level 3. You got to go off campus. And that was... I say campus. Off compound. And that was pretty cool. It was the first time I'd seen my parents. We cried. I mean, immensely. My dad had worked on a lot, and we talked about the relationship, the physical relationship that me and him had. And my dad's not a mean guy by any means, but he was mean. And he would snap, and he was a drunk. He was an alcoholic. And he would just have fits of rage. And I was a recalcitrant teenager that just pissed him off in the wrong times. Not validating the way he treated me at all, but I'm just saying, it's not like I was so innocent, like he just attacked me for no reason. But I just cried and cried and cried. I didn't want them to go. It was like a 2-day seminar. They came, they stayed in a hotel. I was not able to stay in the hotel. But I remember just beaming. Because like, at level 3, you're allowed to start wearing different clothes, kind of. Like, you still have to wear a sweater vest, but you can like have your parents buy you a different color one. or you can wear like a real tie. Or you can wear better shoes, so like running shoes if you wanted, or flats. And you were able to have your hair down. I mean, I was still at the point where my hair was kind of forcibly down, but yeah, you got to wear a watch. You'd always have to ask the time before that, and I don't know if I mentioned that the bathroom door always has to be open while you're showering, while you're peeing, or any of that. So you got that privilege. You got to close the door, which is like, oh my gosh. And someone always had to go with you to the bathroom or before, right after dinner or breakfast or anything. So they made sure that you didn't throw up. You got really fat there. All the food was super high calorie. I also had a really bad health experience there, but it looks like I've kind of gone over my time. I'm trying to do 25 minutes-ish per video, but there's a lot to tell. So, it's getting late here, and I'm kind of tired. So I would appreciate if you could tune in. I have all weekend. I will definitely record 1 or 2 more. I apologize for my tardiness. I do have ADHD. That's a whole nother story. And I'd like to tell you more about Horizon Academy, more about Jade, more about everything. So, ta-ta for now. Deuces. And I'll see you next time. Bye.